And this is in the name of clout. Like, this is the saddest thing, is that where we are now with it is been all behind clout, not behind getting to the bottom line and coming up with a solution.
We're here to have a conversation, man. There's been some misunderstanding as far as the origination or the gang rules or the gang life that's in prison from, and I'm gonna start with this California, Texas thing. Of course, the California penal system is different from the Texas penal system.
Of course.
Two different worlds, but yet,
two different worlds.
Some of the guys who have been incarcerated have been put in for some of the same things. And when it comes to this gang life, it seems that there's been a divide between Cali and Texas. Now, Kunta, I want you to be able to speak on this because this goes beyond even prison stories, but
exactly,
it does have some prison stories essence to it because things start in prison.
I want to take you to prison first.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to prison. You know what I'm saying? We're going in 1997. When I first encountered a GC, a 5-deuce Hoover gangster crip. Now, of course, at that point in time, Hoover, HCGs were the majority. And GC was the minority, you know.
Which one came first? Just for clarification.
In Texas, HCG came first.
Okay.
Not GC.
Okay.
HGC is the prominent set here. I mean, HCG is the prominent set. GC is the secondary because this came after the homies started coming with the right logic. They came and they put, you know, the homies in H-Town down. There's a lot of GCs in H-Town. I mean, it's a small faction of GCs in Fort Worth. You hear me? It is. And, I'm not disrespecting them because I'm not here to disrespect Hoover at all. You know, this is that the moral of the story is that Hoover should never be divided, ever. And that's a law. Like, no Hoover is supposed to be against a Hoover. But when you got people who come in for clout, who come in for likes and clicks, and they on some poo shiesty madness, you know. They got the whole hidden agenda of causing division, you see. And this is in the name of clout. Like, this is the saddest thing, is that where we are now with it is been all behind clout, not behind getting to the bottom line and coming up with a solution.
So, go ahead, please.
Let me go to the prison. Let me take you to prison.
Take us back.
I'm speaking this because I want the collective to hear me.
There you go.
Because they don't understand that I'm really I'm Long Ranger. And my reach is really okay, y'all, say what you want, but on guard, I'm really I'm Long Ranger. So my reach is I'm a Ranger. I'm gonna reach you. I'm a Hoover. I'm gonna reach you. And I'm reaching out to all the Hoovers so y'all will understand that this is a misunderstanding that can simply be solved, you know. For where we are now with it, we look like fools, you know. So anyway, in prison, I counted them in 1997. I encountered the GCs. And they came in, and when they came into the system, it was some friction. You know, it was the Hoovers, the HCGs didn't believe that they even existed because we never been to Cali. You know, a lot of us never been to Cali. I mean, I've been to Cali, but a lot of my homies never been. So they didn't know that GCs would exist. I didn't know because at this point, I didn't go to Cali. You hear me? I went to Cali later, you know, and found out that, that the GCs truly existed. But I accepted it when they came in to the system and they said that we are GCs. We're Hoover, 5-deuce Hoover, GCs. I'm not one of the people that said, no, y'all not, and there ain't no such thing, let's wipe them out. Now, if the Hoovers, HCG was so big, if we wanted to, we could have wiped the HGCs out. We could have wiped them out in prison, and we did not do that because Hoover is Hoover. And that's the law, you know. And we live entirely by that in Texas, that Hoovers is Hoovers. So the GCs have been down here for quite a period of time now, and there's never really been no friction. And then let's get into some decent facts. So when I ran into these homies and they had this friction, there was a lot of people that was like, let's wipe them out. But that would have made us look stupid in front of these homies if they big homies find out that we did this. See, this also stems back to a lie that Percy was telling on the internet. See, Percy, I don't mean to bring him up, But Percy was clout chasing on the internet, talking about he was down there in TDC persecuting the GCs, and that's a lie. Everybody on Ferguson will tell you that he lying. Everybody that's been on Ferguson 2010 and beyond, like all the way to 1995, 1994, they will tell you that's not the case. This dude is lying. He's dry lying. And I'm not trying to make him, because, people got their narratives, and when you can play with the narrative, you can lie. You can lie. That's another thing about playing with the narrative, that you can lie. And Percy played with the narrative, and he lied about what was happening to the GCs down there in Texas. And we was not down here in Texas persecuting the GCs. We were not doing that.
Maybe he's talking about one situation, maybe. I don't know.
Even when you talk about one situation, that's not enough for you to actually press the issue like he pressed it. See, he pressed the issue like we was roughing and we was handling them. And we wasn't doing that because Hoover is Hoover. And that is a law that has been in Texas since the establishment of Hoover. We never made a distinction between none of the Hoovers. We all embraced ourselves in a collective way that was respect and love. So we was never, oh no, we gonna smoke, we gonna, Now, of course, the misunderstanding, though, the misunderstanding did exist because, we had to have like homies from Cali to tell us, because there was a lot of homies that was in Texas prisons that was from Cali, and it wasn't Hoovers.
Yeah.
But they would tell us, yeah, they are that down there. Mm-hmm. So y'all pushing something different, but this is what it is in Cali.
But that wasn't your issue.
No, it was never my issue.
Yeah.
My issue was the bullying scenario. Gumby. Let's get to, hold on, because we need to get to Gumby.
Let's go.
Because see, Gumby, and I say this, and I'm not calling you out your name because I'm being respectful, because I'm for a bigger, shade of audience.
Yeah, you was calling him something else, but
Scumby. I was calling him Scumby.
I heard that. I heard when you did that.
But now I'm gonna respect him and say Gumby, because I don't mean no disrespect to the non-deuces. I don't mean no disrespect to California. I think that this is a problem that needs to be put to bed because it's got to the point where people who don't really understand that this is content have taken outside of content. They want to go to a street level with this. And at this level, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for Texas. And then you got to look at it like this. You got people who come from California, they come to Texas. It's cheaper here. It's cheaper here. The standards of living up there is high. Standards of living here is low. So a lot of the big homies that's over there, they eventually probably gonna retire here in Texas. So this is why this problem has to stop because, we can't have bad relations between Texas, Louisiana, or California because the Hoovers are everywhere. And we can't have that. And for us to even think or to try to want to be on that level that's like petty, Yeah. And I stand at the forefront.
Like Gumby was on this platform as well. Percy was on this platform.
Yeah.
Gumby did his time in Cali. You did your time out here in
Texas.
You gotta, you have to at least respect the fact that he did it from coming up in Cali in the gang system to doing it in the Cali penal system. Y'all live two separate lives, you can kind of say.
I want to get into that. And this is what I want them to understand. That we don't bang Hoover Street. We don't. It's impossible for somebody from Texas to bang a street that's 1,000 miles away. So they wonder why we HCG because we realize that being HCG will connect us to Hoover and not to the street because we bang our own streets here.
Did y'all change the spelling of it?
We did change the spelling too.
Was it because that street?
No, because of that. We changed it to HOOVA and not HOOVER. And this is where this is going. Now, if y'all want us to represent HOOVR, then y'all can't question us about being HCG because the Five Deuce Hoovers was HCG before they merged with Broadway and became GCs. You hear me? Before they became GCs. And I talked to a brother that's a powerful brother in Hoover. You hear me?
Yeah.
And he told me that. He said that he was there when the Five Deuces and the Sevenfolds and all the rest of the Hoover family met on the beach in California to make Five Deuce be accepted as GCs. What makes HCG any different from that era? And this is where it's going. Because we got to look at the black disciples and the black gangster disciples, you hear me?
Yeah.
The black gangster disciples and the gangster disciples separated. They are the same, right? And now you got black gangster disciples and gangster disciples. Now, if the brothers from Cali, the elders, don't step up and stop Gumby from what he is doing, with this irritation as far as what he done started, it's gonna come to a separation point just like it did with the GDs and the BGDs.
What did Gumby start though? Like what?
Okay, now we gonna look into the, because this is the scumbag, this is the scumbag matinee right now,
Yeah, I heard he just disrespected just Fort Worth.
Right, Gumby started out disrespecting HCG.
Oh, okay.
He started out with that. He got together with Real Tunes. And he said, he got on the airwaves and he said that they were going to groove on us for being HCG. Now, how you going to groove on us when we bigger than y'all? You got to make it, the math ain't mathing, brother, for you to sit here and tell a state as big as Texas that y'all going to groove on us. That didn't make sense. I really wasn't bothered by it. I was bothered by the fact that they had the audacity to tell me that my life ain't real. You sitting here talking to a man who has served Hoover for 38 years. And you tell me my life ain't real? You tell all these Hoovers in Texas that their life ain't real, and we supposed to eat that up and swallow it. No, you don't get to do that. Because see, this is the way it works. If there was a problem, that problem should have been addressed a long time ago. You see?
By who? It seems like you were mentioning with the Hoover Discord that somebody above the Hoovers, I mean, is there like not an OG status above just in the Crip faction that could come in and situate all that? Like, hey, we're gonna have a sit down, we're gonna get this, we're gonna politic and get all this.
And
right.
that's where we are now. And we've already done that. Now, Gumby is a sore faction. Gumby is the people, he represents the class in Cali that want to rebel against what is right. See, you have a certain brand of people in California who hate Texas. And Gumby, being a mass manipulator, have identified with the people who hate Texas. And he actually have made them hate Fort Worth. This is called commiserating. Gaslit logic, commiserating. He has basically threw a hornet's nest of commisery on Fort Worth. And guess what? Fort Worth is not the only place where Hoover Crip is. Five Deuce Hoover Crip. Five Deuce Hoover Crip is in Texas. But for some reason, Fort Worth has took the blow. We have taken the main blow for being HCG. Guess what? We're not gangbangers. We killers. That's the difference.
Check the resume, huh?
Yeah, check the resume. We stop gangbanging. We're killers in Fort Worth. We're not just running around gangbanging, driving from street to street, trying to kill black people. That's not how we move. This is an open carry state, homie. So that ought to tell you our resume. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that's cripping ain't breaking the laws no more, but they still got a lot of guns. You see? So for these dudes to think that we are soft, or we could be bullied, that's a mistake. And then when you elect somebody to come down here, choose somebody who would use sugar rather than shit.
Yeah.
So this dude that came down here, he came down here with shit as the bait for flies rather than sugar. And that was his mistake, Because when you come down here and you're trying to talk reason, there's a level of humility that you're supposed to have. You can't come down here as some stupid orangutan pulling shit out of your rear end and throwing it on everybody, telling everybody that they're wrong. Nobody's gonna go for you throwing poop on them. Nobody's going for that.
But when it comes to age, and I don't mean age like how old you are, but your age in the game, basically someone who's, let's say, one of the founders telling you, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. Is there a way to respectfully say no? Is it a way to say, nah, we
I've already respectfully said no.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, was that not taken lightly? Or
no, I don't know how they took it. But as for being a Hoover Crip, HCG, I'm the biggest no. And I represent everybody that will not change and will not switch. And I said no for every last one of those people. To everybody who don't understand what the word no was. That's what we said, and that's what we will stand stiffly at it. You see, history repeats itself. And history has repeated itself because we will not change what we are. And I'm not promoting gangs. You see, I'm not in this to promote no gangs. I'm not promoting gangs. I'm promoting redemption. I'm promoting, hey, Crips, benefit the community because you've been benefiting from the community. Why not be a benefit to the community? That's what I promote. You know.
So why not play ball? Why not change or switch up, or if they ask and do?
We won't.
I mean, isn't that harmony though?
No, that's not harmony. Because if that's the case, everybody that died
in the
name of will be dead in vain. We got too many people that's in the cemetery as well as in the penitentiary with life without for us to ever turn our heels. And they won't turn their heels. So now, what if it was, let's switch the mirror. Let's turn the mirror around. What if everybody was Hoover Crip in the beginning? Like, no, history has already done this. They turned into GCs. And nobody was with that. No, none of the Hoovers was with that program of them being GCs. This is why the fight happened between the Five Deuces and the rest of the Hoover sets. It was because Five Deuce wanted to stay GC. They wanted to be that. So what's wrong with us wanting to be HCG? We just a different tree on the branch. And that's where the respect is supposed to be established at. Is that no tree, no branch on a tree is the same, but it's all connected to the same roots. So it's no way that what we're doing could be a problem unless people are petty and got prejudices that they are unafraid to admit, you see, because what this stems from is a prejudice that people are not admitting. People really, when you have not lived in Texas, 9 times out of 10, you won't like us. You hear me? You won't like us.
Why you say that?
Because we do things different. We do things different in Texas. There's a southern hospitality that's associated with being a Texas Crip. See, we go around and we shake hands. You know what shaking hands do? That make you love your brother. When you go around and you meet your brother and you shake his hand, you give him a hug, you lock seeds around his back, that means you love him. This is the part that they didn't understand. Well, we transformed. We transformed. See, Texas transformed into a greater state of Cripping where Crips are loved here.
How did y'all branch grow so many leaves? Like, how did y'all become, bigger as far as numbers wise?
Because you had Fort Worth. Fort Worth is the heart and soul of Hoover in Texas, period. Everybody will tell you that. That's the truth. They might call Houston, but no. We were Hoover when Houston was cliques. We was Hoover when everybody else was trying to figure out what they were going to be. We was already Hoover here in Fort Worth. And just do the math, I think the only other place that was on Hoover was Beaumont. Other than Fort Worth, that was on Hoover at the right time when it first started. With us, I can actually say that they run the timeline of longevity with us being Hoover in Fort Worth. It's Beaumont. Houston came a little later, but this ain't no disrespect to the H-Town. I got homies in the H-Town, they solid. I'm not disrespecting the Fidos, GCs, or the HCGs in H-Town. I love them. You know what I'm saying? I love Hoover, period. You know what I'm saying? I don't make no distinction between Five Deuce, GC, and ACG, because at the end of the day, Hoover is Hoover. And if it's a war between between somebody that's not Hoover, they're not going to ask you what if you ACG or GC. They're not going to ask you that. So this is all clout. This is where you see the narrative is being twisted rather than being controlled.
So can I ask, what is the difference outside of just the position of the letter? Like, what's the difference?
There's no difference. There's no difference. And this is people, with absolute power comes absolute corruption. And this is what you got to understand about people from California. And people who are not from California. You got a lot of people who are sheeple and they feel like Cali's word is the last say about cripping. And that's not true. That's not true. Cali's word is not the last word. And when we say that Cali's word is the last word, we make ourselves fools. And we put ourselves under their submission. Yeah. And I'm not doing that. I mean, I respect what y'all got going on. And I respect y'all as being the originators of it. But our program is our program down here. And what our program did, because, people don't understand that the Crips are under one umbrella here. We don't operate like Cali operates. Cali, in Hoover, in California, Hoover, it's not looking good. And I hate to say that, and I asked the elders, y'all, please forgive me for being this way, but I asked y'all to stop Gumby. So y'all made me reach out to a higher level of information to shut him down, on a higher level of reach to shut him down. I asked the elders, I went to them and said, hey, y'all need to stop Gumby for what he's doing because he's opening a faucet of bloodshed. And we don't need that. Because this is really a secretly COINTELPRO operation that could wipe Hoover out. They already indicted Hoover in California and 6-0. Yeah. So, will the Texas Hoovers be stupid and be next and be put in the trick bag? Hey. No, we won't. And I'm here as the watchdog over there to make sure that we don't get put in the trick bag. I'm here to show that we can do business and we can get money and we can leave all the counterproductive stuff behind because it's just trash. That's what I'm pushing. And with this whole scenario as far as Gumby, I asked the elders to stop this man. I asked them, you even had Big Deal, which they attempted. Big Deal got on here. Shout out to Big Deal. You know what I'm saying? My guy, for getting on here and speaking up and saying something that needed to be said a long time ago about what Gumby was doing. He said, Gumby, you don't speak on Five Deuce business. He said that, shout out to Big Deal, real life, because he did something that was respectful. He said, hey, man, y'all Fort Worth dudes, y'all need to get it together. We trying, bro. You hear me? That's going to take time. And then it's going to take a meeting of minds. But in the process, that's in the meantime, that's Five Deuce business. Strictly when it comes to Five Deuce. Not no person that's another set that's claiming they are in Hoover. But see, when you like that, you're a manipulator. You're a manipulator. You know what I'm saying? You manipulatively are trying to twist the narrative. Because see, for clout, what happens when all the brothers start smoking each other and shooting each other and doing drive-bys and people from Texas go to shooting people from Cali and Cali people go to shooting people from Texas. What happens then? From the mess that we won't take the responsibility and stop. Because this is mess that we as collective, and then it's really involved the Crips. It's bigger than Hoover. Mm-hmm. They trying to say, well, Hoover need to deal with this. No, I don't think so. I think this has gotten to a point to where it needs to be a vote amongst the Crips. If the Hoovers are still Crips, because see, in Texas, the Hoovers are still Crips here. We still are under the Crip umbrella here. So we are adhered to Crip, the laws. We have heard to that. We push Hoover, but we push Hoover Crip. So it's a big difference. See, they're not pushing Crip there no more. So I'm confused. So I asked the big homies, this is a point where y'all need to step up and stop Gumby. If y'all really don't mean any harm, and it's already been a lot of harm done to Texas on Gumby's behalf, this is a time that we ask y'all as big brothers to step up. Hey, man, y'all need to stop Gumby. Y'all need to speak out because y'all know what Gumby is doing is not right. We never want to go Hoover against Hoover. If Hoover is Hoover over everything, then this, what Gumby is preaching, is wrong. And if y'all are willing, y'all need to, this is the point where y'all need to, like, y'all told me about step 2. This is what step 2 needs to take place at. Y'all need to get Gumby out of Texas. Gumby needs to go home to California. I'm being honest, He's down here and he's whispering, deception and divide.
I didn't know he was down here.
Yeah, he's down here in Houston. And, these Houston brothers, I'm not going to disrespect Houston, but they down there with that dude, the dudes that's with him.
Yeah, okay.
I asked y'all, I got a question to you dudes that's with Gumby. Where do y'all stand? Because before Gumby came, the HCGs and the GCs was just fine.